What's up, guys? This is KNM Live. Today we're going to do a live reaction with a special guest with Anton Daniels talking about being sucker step parents.
All right, let's get into it, guys.
Welcome to Let's Rant About It, where we have real conversation about real life topics. It can get a little passionate, but we keep the vibes high with honest opinions. Getting started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Randy Rosario. Welcome to Let's Rant About It, where we have authentic conversations from our point of view. I'm sitting here with the cool kids as usual. We got my mentor, Anton Daniels. We got one of my good friends, Kitty J. Rose. We got my best friend in the whole wide world, Rizzy. We got my good friend, Keita Rose. And little big bro, Rico Hundo. This is so Hundo.
Walk off.
This is let the record show this is very refreshing to be in a space with you where we're not arguing, Rico.
Yeah.
This is dope. It's so much growth over the past 2 years.
It's been a
I
lot
didn't
of
think I
growth.
was going to see it in a lifetime.
I didn't either.
Get outta
It's
here.
crazy, right? Right? So today we are talking about the most ghetto hood of them all. Parenthood. The fact that everybody runs it. The fact that everybody runs it is hilarious. Let's get right into this. We all talk about generational curses and things that we had to heal from our own childhoods, but we never really do the intro work to say, what type of things will our own children possibly have to heal from once they become adults, when they look back on their childhood? Has anybody ever given any thought to something like that?
Always.
I haven't thought of like what specific things, but I do know that I will need to say sorry. And then this is the reason. The reason is because no matter how great you think you are as a parent, no matter how much you think you're doing so well, there's always going to be something that your children said was toxic. If you're overbearing, they'll say that was toxic. If you didn't pay enough attention, they'll say that was toxic. So I'm just ready to say, I apologize and help heal whatever needs to be healed, because I think that's the problem with parenthood. We think we did everything right, or I tried, or I gave you everything. That doesn't mean that they didn't experience some type of trauma or had a bad experience with you. And so a lot of the times when children break away from their parents, it's because parents can't even say, I'm sorry, I hear you, you were right. Like they act like it's gonna kill them to just, you know what I mean, show that humility. And I don't know, that's not gonna be me.
Some parents don't think they made the mistakes that children think they made.
Baby,
Have you
I
ever
made, girl, I made some mistakes now, okay? And I don't mind apologizing to my children,
Right.
okay?
I'm sorry.
But my oldest baby, I always say that, because I have one adopted,
Mhm.
and then both of them the same age, 16. And my oldest baby, she saw me through life, okay? She saw me chasing after men. She saw me fighting. She saw me making bad decisions. And so when she got to that age to where she really started liking little boys, and I started to see that she could not fathom the idea of not having someone around her. Also, I think I prioritized too much time.
One thing I will say about the beginning statement they made about the humility of apologizing to your kids, it depends on the domination that you believe in. Because if you're a Christian or Catholic and you read the Bible, parents are over the kids, regardless. It's the kids that should always respect the parents, not the other way around. And if you read the scriptures, it will say that. So there's that involved as well. Now, on a realistic standpoint, we're talking about outside of religion, right? It's just kind of like, I don't even think the I'm sorry will fix it. Because I used to hear that a lot. I'm sorry doesn't really fix a lot of things. It's a good gesture, but it doesn't fix what went down. It's just kind of like, I feel like the parent maybe, owning up to it might help, but is it really gonna make you see your parents any different? I don't think so. But
Well, I mean, just to piggyback off of that, I don't think the point of sorry, the saying sorry is not the point. It's just the room of improvement of it. So yeah, they're saying sorry, but they can also explain why this happens instead of just saying, "Oh, you got to do what I say." Mind you, yes, I mean they do have the last say, but if it's something that you can explain like why you doing it, and probably put less of a blow, especially when they're children. Whether they do after that, and that's depending on the kid, depending on the consequences he or she is willing to take. But I think it's just the point of yeah, I know I messed up, and yeah, I'm sorry about that, and this is room of improvement. Room of improvement. I think it's just based off of parents when you call them out or like you try to explain to them, they're always just short sighted. Oh, this is how it is in my way, and then if you try to do it their way and you fuck it up, then it's gonna be like, oh, nobody told you to do it that way.
Right.
Some people are, some kids have that type of experience. It's like, what was the whole spill of being this way? And I do it your way, then I fuck up, and then I told you my way, and it's like, nah, like still my fault regardless. I think that's the whole message of it.
Okay. I can see that. I can definitely relate to that.
Time on the work that I was doing, but it was really because I was in hard spaces in my life. And of course, children don't understand that. So I used to make this excuse, yeah, well, I'm giving you quality time because I'm around you, but it really wasn't. Like I was always working. My mom was always like, the head was on the phone. I was always on a laptop, and my children were pretty much just playing with themselves. Like I took a lot of things from my kids, and now watching my daughter, both of my daughters as a teenager, I'm helping one through her healing from her mom. So watching both of them, I feel like I've been absent in spaces where I should have been a lot more present, and just seeing how my daughter can't be alone. And so we're really trying to work with that.
Yeah.
We're like help her work through that, and then truly like loving herself, because in society nowadays, I don't think I poured enough. I poured love into my kids, but I don't think I poured enough of that, that talk that parents need to give. Like, you don't have to be somebody else. I don't think I did that early on like I should have. I did that years later. And so now I'm seeing my daughter in this survival state just from being a teenager, just from being out in society, being around her own generation. And I beat myself up about that a lot. But me and my daughters, we have talks. I let my kids speak up and express how they feel. So we'll sit down and they'll tell me, yeah, mom, I don't like when you do this. Okay, cool. Let me change it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, but it definitely was a hard pill to swallow, especially when you have to listen to your kids cry to you about you.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I have gotten to the point where actually, yeah, I have gotten to that point. Dominic, my 14-year-old, he's a very non-confrontational person. And y'all know when I'm speaking, like I can get, like we can go there a little bit. Like, all right, so let's talk. You feel me?
Yeah.
And he was texting his mom some stuff, but kind of trying to play both sides.
Yeah.
And I had to let her know, like, he trying to play in your face right now.
Mhm.
And the energy that I had to give him was revved up East Warren Randy. I had to give him that a little bit. And I had to realize that he can't handle that. I am a hood girl raising suburban babies. They can't handle the aggressive talk and things like that. And I had to, it really took, honestly, it took
Neither that should have.
me realizing that Dominic is a young man. He's 14 years old. How I handle him now is how he's going to expect women to handle him in the future.
Absolutely.
So if I talk to him aggressive, if I'm, in his face like this or whatever, he's going to expect, or he's going to normalize that or think that that's how women are supposed to handle him, especially if he's seeing that in both households.
Right.
So I've had to take a step back and ask myself, how do I want to show up for him? What type of parent do I want to be? And a lot of it is, I had to learn that he has to fall sometimes. I cannot be the parent that's just constantly just being a safety net. And that to me is the scariest shit in the world, because it's like, why do you have to scrape up your knee if I can just, leave
This is the best AI tool you can use to create and sell t-shirts that can earn you thousands of dollars a month.
the training wheels?
Oh, I'm the opposite. I push the nigga right off. This is like, because I want you, and that just comes from my military background though, because it's like, you need to know I'm not gonna I can't coddle you through. I can be there for you, and I can be your backbone, but I'm not gonna coddle you because no one's gonna love you like I do. When you step outside this house, you about to see just how much they don't love you out here.
Yeah.
But you treat your daughters differently than your sons, though, right?
I don't have a daughter. I mean, I have a bonus daughter, but
Oh,
no.
I did at one
No.
time.
I don't.
I can
I
honestly
wouldn't.
say I did. At one time, I definitely did. I was a lot harder on my girls than my boy, and man, I did coddle him. And my husband,
you caught up the boy?
yeah, I did. And when
Yeah,
my
that makes sense.
husband came in, because not to discredit my son's dad, but I wish he was a lot more active than what he was. But when my husband came in, he was like, no, he said, this is not gonna work for this little boy. And I couldn't fight that because it's like, I ain't never lived in the shoes of a man.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to. So
Well,
there's
that's-
certain things that bonus dad are gonna have to deal with. And I sit back
Absolutely.
and I let it happen. And I just had to realize I was being a lot unfair. Like I was putting a lot of responsibilities on my girls for certain things. And it's like, why are you not putting these same responsibilities on your son?
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I know it's certain things that girls would probably do better, but it was definitely a difference that I had for sure.
I could never be a stepfather.
Why?
Man, that's where he comes into it.
Like I believe,
Let's
I
get
think
straight
that-
to it.
I call him step baby daddy or step crash dummy. I could never in my right mind.
Step crash dummy.
Step crash dummies.
Why don't you believe in stepfather?
Yo.
Because he's always going to yearn to understand who he truly is from the person that he was born from.
No, you're 100%
Yeah,
accurate
I
in
agree
that.
with
And
that,
so
yeah.
I don't see the benefit that a guy gets out of raising another man's child.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's no benefit.
That's-
it's a
you know what?
zero-sum statement.
As,
wouldn't say
as,
there's
as,
no
much as I want to dislike that statement, I will
It's a
say
zero.
that
It's a
often,
zero benefit.
to some people,
Unless you just want to
often-
feel good about yourself.
often step parenting can be a rewardless job. But when you accept what your role is in it versus trying to be someone's everything,
Mhm.
for me, it's been a bit different. And I will go as far as saying too, we have been able to establish our own relationship. I don't want to be your mama. I'm not your mama.
I don't
I'm
wanna
a
be your
mother
mama.
figure to you. You have a mama. I don't need you to look at me and say, "Oh, mom, A, B, C, and D." No. You have a biological mother that you have access to for that. I'm here to be a pillar in
Well,
your
but
village
it's
and to help.
different. I can't speak to it from a woman's perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's the same.
And no,
Oh,
let me
no.
let
I
me tell you.
disagree.
Let me. I definitely. I agree and disagree with it. I agree with it for a certain kind of man, a certain kind of traditional alpha man. It's not going to be able to do anything. And I don't say alpha man to try to say beta is different and sigma is
No,
bad and all that.
I'm
I'm not
with
saying
you.
that. But what I am saying is that a certain mindset, a certain man that wants to run everything, is going to be difficult having two lions in the family. Because a man like Anton is going to show up as the man. I'm doing this. I'm handling this. This is my village. To have another man that has come in and have any type of say so at all, I can see how that could be.
I
difficult.
definitely
But
believe
that's
that
assuming they
people
have-
prioritize
We gotta
nuclear
think about
families.
it. I want women to understand this. Just because a man has a penis, don't make him a man. He could be a male. There's not a lot. Most men aren't lying. Let's make sure that's understood.
Let's talk
Okay.
about
Right?
that.
So some men can raise another man's child because the real father ain't a lion. He's more like a gazelle. You know what I'm saying? The lion is not
Damn,
you.
I like
and I
that.
believe. Well, I mean, I believe in God and I believe in everything is a reason, right?
Right.
And like my dad is a bitch ass nigga. My
Damn.
step pops, he ain't playing. Like,
Yeah.
you feel me? So like, I was already one that wasn't playing coming out the woodworks.
Yeah.
So then, if my dad was there, hypothetically, I would probably clash with him because he was already soft. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe that just because you gave birth to something means that you are the best one to raise that.
Come on, let's talk
you know,
about that.
that person that you gave birth to, whether you're a man or a woman.
So you believe nurture versus nature?
Yes.
Because nurturing that child is more important than possibly more important than nature.
I
you came
believe
from?
I believe that nature. See, here's the
Absolutely.
thing: we get
This is
so
crazy.
confused about nature as if you are the only one of this child.
Uh-huh.
There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 generations of nature within this child that you ain't exuding yet. You remember the Punnett
That's
Square?
fair.
In the Punnett Square, you had a 1 in 4 chance of being something,
Yes.
right? So this child can have the bottom right quadrant, and you might have top left.
Yeah.
You ain't fit to to raise that child, to be honest. So maybe somebody else who is in that bottom right quadrant is gonna be able to understand that man or that young woman or that young boy and really help them grow into what they
Absolutely.
need to be.
So you would advise your son to get with a woman that already have children.
If that
You would,
Children is
you would be okay
plural.
with that?
Children is-
Remove yourself
I
out.
don't,
Children
think, I,
is
don't think no, I don't think nobody advises
Yeah.
those scenarios for their
But see,
children,
the
right?
problem
Yes.
is that
But
I will say this. I do have somebody in my family who is a step parent, right? Actually, a couple people in my family were step parents, actually. But what he's saying was actually really true. Blood, like, just because y'all blood related doesn't equal a good relationship. I will agree to that. Sometimes blood ain't thicker than water. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's somebody completely from the outside to show you the light or to raise you, boy or girl, to show you how to better yourself. Sometimes you can't get that from your blood donor parents. You can't get it from that. But I will say this as a man, speaking from a man perspective, like I feel like a lot of these things develop as you get to know the person. I don't feel like this is like, oh, if we was to say it and present it in front of them, they would be like, oh, they got 3 baby daddies, 3 baby mamas. I'm gonna go for it. It's just kind of like you like the person so much that you want to love their kids as much as you love them. Keywords love, right? So it comes down to how I feel like a lot of step parents, they didn't ask for that situation. It just kind of happened. It's like, I like this person so much that I'm willing to take on the responsibility of whatever comes with them, whether that be kids, debt, it could be anything. Anything that comes with what you want in that partnership, you feel like whatever that person has, you're going to clear through all of that with them, alongside them. That's I feel like that's the hope inside a lot of step parents. They get with this person because they care about this person and they can't help about the past. They can't control that they already got 3 kids from 3 other different people and stuff like that. They can't control that. But what they can control is how much they like this person. So it takes a conscious decision from that individual to be like, even though I know you got all these kids and whatever, I still want to help you through it because I care about you. And at that point, you have to accept the decision that you made. It's not a wise decision because whatever goes on in that family, whatever happens, yes, you are family, but you are not related by blood. So nothing's owed to you. Nothing in your genes. If you're not somebody who cares about immortality or anything like that, you're not passing down your genes. You're not passing down anything unless you plan to be like the Brady Bunch, unless you plan to have kids with them too. And then the other kids are just add-ons to this situation. But from that perspective, yes, you can be with somebody who's not your blood parent and they can love you way better than your blood parent would ever have loved you. So, because not all people are meant to be parents. That's why they always say all kids deserve good parents. Not all parents deserve kids. And I agree with that statement. Some people, it was just an accident to them. They didn't even want the child. It just happened. You just happened to be born. And unfortunately, there's a lot of situations like that. So I just wanted to insert that real quick.
But sometimes it just happens because they just might be in love. You can't control
you
who love.
You can definitely control that.
First. It's a business
Do
first.
some.
We know statistics of what it is when men are where children are raised in certain type of household. We know what the statistics are, right? And so I'm not gonna sit here and say a man isn't a man based off of some criteria that we make up, right? Because I use data. The reality is this: what we are doing is excusing bad behavior. And instead of us going to the mothers and say, hey, why are you not accountable for who it is that you decided to open up your legs to?
Bullshit.
Because we ain't having that conversation. The only thing we saying is, oh, that's a bitch ass nigga. But you opened up your legs to him. He wasn't a bitch ass nigga when you had.
I agree with him.
$5.
I want to see Obama.
That's enough to make a difference in this election.
No,
Might have been.
When you know, but my point is
I mean, if we're
when
gonna talk about
we
it.
continue to do this, we validate bad behavior.
What
You
is the bad
conti-
behavior?
Because you're saying that you can recover from this, when in reality we know statistically that child has a much greater chance of going to jail.
I get where Anton's coming from as far as like he's basically like, you should live with your punishment. Raise your kids on your own. Don't drag any other people into it unless they're willing participants. And at that point, that's the best way to solve this discussion. As a dude, you should want to start your own family. You don't want to continue off of somebody else's saved data, like somebody else said before, like a video game. You're basically playing off of somebody else's saved memory card. You should start your own family with your own plate that nobody else has put food on. That's your guys' plate together. And that's where I can agree to that. I do agree, like, no matter how hard it is, find somebody who doesn't or not in those type of situations. Don't accept a crippling situation like that because you're in love with the person, because that love could be fabricated. That love could not be real. That love could not last. And then all your efforts you put into these people, and you realize you'll never be a part of them because you're not genetically involved. And it's a thankless thing. It's like, but I don't really think people accept the stepkids because of that. It's because of the person they're with is why they overlook that big responsibility that they know is coming behind them. So it's just kind of like, you got to get over that. You can't just let your personal feelings make you clouded from the reality of the situation. Kids are a big responsibility, and another person's kids, you don't know what runs in their bloodline. You don't know how either parent is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what's going on with these kids mentally. Things could be passed down to them you don't even know, and then now you the one that has to inherit it. So it's just like, there's a lot of negatives in this situation. Being a step parent, there's a whole bunch of negative, not much positive. There's really not the only positive I can think of this situation is that, like the guy on the far left said, he turned out to be a good guy because of his step parent. But would he be a step parent himself? And I hope he might answer that later. But it's like, he turned out okay because his dad was obviously not a good dad. His stepdad is the one that guided him to be a better person, which, yes, you can thank him, but like, when he leaves this earth, that's all that remains is his memories of him being with you. And I feel like, me personally, I do believe in immortality, and your kids are a form of your immortality. You're passing on that genetic, just knowing that's half of you walking. That feeling is much better to me. So I personally would not want to be a step parent. But to other people, they may not look at it that way. They may just look at it as none of that really matters. And then that's fine. And that's fine if you look at it that way. But you can't take away from the other side of people who don't want to be a part of that or forcing it onto other folk.
A much greater chance of needing therapy, a much greater chance of joining the gang. He has a much greater chance of being less successful. And instead of us saying, hey, hold that accountable so that this don't happen in the next generation.
I think I'm missing context.
No.
If what?
If
he has a much greater chance of doing all that. If what?
To say it's a guy's responsibility to raise this child based off of a village concept or a community concept, or because he's a real man, removes the accountability from the woman of actually making sure that she picked the right guy.
Correct.
To marry before she carried in the first place.
So what happened?
I married before I carried, and then I got a divorce.
But that's not the norm, because what I see on Instagram and social media is people
I'm trying to figure out what we talking about.
What I see on Instagram and social media is when a woman get pregnant, regardless of whether she married, it's congratulations, sis.
Okay.
That's what I see.
I agree. Listen,
should we throw stones at her?
Absolutely.
Antoine, shut up. You do not
I
do that.
believe in
You said that
100%.
Congratulating a woman, but if you want to throw accountability at anybody, throw it at the man that left
It's
the
a
family.
small
unit,
minority.
right?
It's a small percentage of men that's having the majority of the children. It's most
Correct.
black men are not having children out of wedlock. That
Facts.
is a falsehood. And so when we sit here, when we want to solve for a problem, we solve for the majority, not the minority. And when you look at the statistics, most black men are not having children out of wedlock. It's a small minority of men that's having the majority of the children with a whole lot of women. That's
And
the
is
reality.
that you got that from a .org or a dot?
How do a woman have a child without a wedlock without the man too?
What I'm saying is,
why is this guy being goofy? Why is this man being goofy?
I mean, look, like, it's true, because there was there was an article that showed it was 3 guys here in the state, in TN, and it was 3 guys, they impregnated 80 women. Now you got to think, all those 80 women it's not like they all knew each other, but you guys knew that these guys rolled around like this, and y'all still chose to have kids with them.
I bet some of them didn't know him. 80?
They probably been
within the same community, same neighborhood. I'm pretty sure
this is I get where Anton's passion is coming from, because we have to put in the nuances. Everybody don't like nuances, but we have to put in the nuance. Let's say for me, if I meet a woman and I know she got 4 kids, all 4 are by different dads, why in the world would I take on that responsibility when those 4 deadbeat, 2 of them could be deadbeats, 2 of them, they tried to be in the children's life and she kept them away. And we all know this, that people be, taking away parenting rights from other parents. They be doing that to show control over them and stuff like that. So we know that people do this. So in a situation like that, no matter how much I liked her, it doesn't make sense for me to get involved in that type of situation, just because I'm more at risk of everything else than what she does, than what she has to, lose in this situation. It's like, why don't I give that chance to a woman who don't have 4 kids by 4 different dads? And I get where Anton's coming from. It's just like, we have to punish bad behavior. We can't just sugarcoat it just because, we're adults, we just get over it. No. When a mistake is made, you have to be punished just like we do kids. Same thing with adults. You commit a crime, you go to jail. And in this case, you don't deserve to stand at the front of the line for the best person. And your situation, you may have got a disease, you got multiple kids, you got a bad situation you're bringing to that person, when there's somebody else who has none of that, and they have everything you have, looks-wise, health-wise. These 2 people should be together. You, on the other hand, the individual with all these problems, get with somebody else who has problems. That's how I would think these situations would work out. But the funny thing about it is that the person with the bad situation will judge another person with a bad situation when y'all literally meant for each other. You can't judge him for having multiple baby moms, just like he can't judge you for having multiple baby dads. Y'all need to be together. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all made for each other. So in this case, that's the way that I would clean it up. But we know most people are probably not going to agree to that.
If we got 99% of the men, and we said we're gonna hold all of them accountable.
No, I'm saying, like, if the woman had the child, well, like, she didn't have it by herself. So did he.
If we got 99% of men to do the right thing, it takes 1% of men to populate the majority of the women.
True indeed.
So even if you hold
that's true.
accountable, it doesn't solve for the problem.
No, it's not
true.
about all men. It's about holding everybody.
Yeah, you can say
accountable.
if it's 9-9, it just take one person to have sex with all the women on there. All of them are pregnant.
Yeah.
It was like,
we carry a whole bunch of we carry like 30,000 sperm, whatever, in our every day that it, sperm recirculates, whatever they were talking about. But yeah, it'd take only a few group of guys to repopulate the earth. So
men by default are
if you were in that kind of situation.
Let me go back to this stepdad situation real fast, because I have a stepfather, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't raise me. My grandfather raised me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I didn't personalize my stepfather because that's who my mom is married to.
Yeah, that's who your mom chose.
That's her relationship. I have examples. Around me that I don't have to look towards him. His only job, honestly, for me, is just to be example of a good person, a human being. Period.
See, that's already
for none of that shit.
That's already why it's the whole point of your stepfather even being there. If he's just supposed to be a good person, a good adult around you, bro. What's the whole point? You might as well not even have him anyway. He's just like a substitute. Yeah, he's there. It's nice to have an adult teaching us some things, but bro, he's not going to be the real form of the teacher that we originally had, that we listened to or get our whole information from. Bro, he's just a substitute.
Right. It's just simply just be a good dude, treat my mom good, and I mean, I don't care what y'all going through. Y'all not being physical.
How old were you when he came into your life?
I was in middle school.
Middle school, trash.
So that's what, like,
you was
12?
already big.
Well, I was big because I was probably I'm 6'5", bro. I've been big.
No, I'm saying you were older as a kid. You had already
middle
had
schooler
whatever it was in you.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Now wait, now
Y'all being
I know,
obtuse,
listen,
like,
I know.
bruh.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
so
11
He's
years
already
old.
in the
Alright,
age he
cool. Alright,
knows
let's-
he's like 12, 13 years old. Yeah. I don't build that relationship with him because if I was small, I already have that established relationship because that's the everything of a guy that I see. It's like you already in the age, like you notice things like people with different relationships, you seen your parents with different people. Yeah, by age 12 or 13, you already know what's up. You have an degree. So it's like I see this guy with my mom, it's like, well, whatever. As long as you don't get in my way, I mean, we cool. You know, I know some kids are like that.
let's reset. All right. So one of the facts that you gave is in regards to children that, you know, statistically messing up more so, that usually comes from a single mother household, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if we take the conversation to it being a
I've seen
two-parent,
that
single
statistic.
mother household. So when I say two-parent household, I'm saying married,
okay,
having children,
So let's-
raising those children.
cool. So let's take it to a two-parent household where one parent is a step parent.
Mhm.
That's still a two-parent household, right?
Yeah, but it's not the same.
You don't think so?
And I personally, again, I would never advise a guy if this guy is single, he's taking care of business, he don't have no children and nothing like that. I'm not gonna sit here in good conscience and tell this man that he's supposed to get with a single mother. Absolutely not.
Correct. I agree.
And that's
I
fine.
agree with
But
him.
there's so many single fathers that get with single mothers. So many single fathers.
So we
I
just
think
speaking
y'all should have
about the.
preferences.
Are we just speaking about the men who don't have children? Is that the reference? Or are you saying just all men,
Because I
even if they
understand the
come
man
in
that
with
doesn't have
children?
children, but there's so many single fathers that look towards.
I mean,
single
Like I
mothers.
said, the majority
We
of
also
men
have to be
don't have
realistic
children out of
here.
wedlock.
Okay, where are you living? Right? We're living in America, and 1 out of every 4 kids are born with a single parent.
Yeah.
Or raised with a single parent.
Mhm.
Right? And the rest of the world, it's at an 8%. So we're about 3 to 4 times more
Mm.
likely to have a child be raised out of wedlock or with only one parent. Right? So when you look at the numerics, you're more likely than not to run, if you're a guy who doesn't have any kids, you're more likely than not, depending on your age, to run into a woman that has a kid.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right? So
He's
I don't
correct.
think we're advising anybody, hey, I advise you to go find a woman that has a kid with another man.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is that the offer's not on the table depending on her behavior. Now, if she has 3, 4, 5 baby fathers, I would never advise that, right?
Mhm.
Sorry to those women. But if you have one man and I mean, you had one man and now you have one child with that man, and maybe even 2, and that's something that you want to tie up
2
your
is too
boots
many.
and walk in the path you want to walk
That's
down.
crazy.
I would say go ahead.
But that's why I brought up single fathers,
That's
because when you see a
crazy.
woman that is a single mother,
yeah.
that child has a father,
Yeah.
right? Who's a single father?
That's insane.
Like, are we not putting those two things together?
I don't think the this one in the jacket's recognizing it's not fair to the guy. Basically, it's like I know where they're going with this conversation. This is kind of like if you're a guy if you're a guy who's doing well in life, there is absolutely no reason for you to become a step parent to somebody else's mistakes. Well, not that the kids are mistakes, but it's just like the messiness, because there's gonna be some messiness, definitely, because this is a broken household, which means generational wealth has been destroyed already due to the fact that you guys are co-parenting or divorcees or whatever the case is. It's a broken household already. And you're a single guy walking into this situation, it's a detriment to you because one, like I said, your genetics are not involved if you don't end up having a kid with the girl too. And then financially, you're going to not only have to take care of yourself and her, but now you got to take care of a kid that's not yours. And that kid has a parent, but the parent may not take his life seriously. Speaking from a man perspective, I get where Anton's going with it because there's a lot of guys. I feel like there's a lot of guys, especially in our age group, who don't have kids yet, but when we go to look to date and finally settle down and have a marriage or whatever, our options are kind of slim because most of the ones you're going to come across are going to have kids. They're going to have, 1 or 2 babies at some point. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're talking my age group, if you're trying to date somebody same age. So if I even wanted to avoid that, I may have to go down past 25, past 24, just to get somebody who may not have kids yet because most of them are going to have kids before 25 or 25, because If they wait too long, it'll be harder on them. So I can understand why, you know, most women of say in our age group already have kids, because that's the way it's designed to be. Because if they wait later, it'll be harder for them to do it, and it could be life threatening to them. So they have to have it when they're younger. So that means it's just kind of like you as a younger guy who may be doing well before you get to your 30s, before you get to your 40s. It's like, dang, you have a lot of potential, and you just curb that by taking on somebody else's responsibility that's not even your own, you know? So, but here is where these guys over here, well, this one in the middle especially, they're saying love conquers all. I know that's what he's about to say, the dude in the middle, because he's basically saying if you care about the person enough, it should work out. But it don't always work out like that. It really don't.
I got a question for you. So say you got your son, right?
Mhm.
You going by your principles. You don't want him to date a young lady that has a child or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So what if he do anyway?
What do you mean? What if he do?
So
Oh,
my son ain't gonna get no access when I die. I can imagine.
okay, so let's actually
He ain't getting no access to my resources when I pass away.
use a perfect example. My dad feels like you. My dad, he used to always tell my brother, you are a first round draft pick. You don't have no kids. I bought you a brand new car. You just moved to a new city. I put you some money in the account. Like, you a first round draft pick. You pick you somebody that da-da-da. When I was younger, I used to be like, Dad, that's such a fucked up way to say things. And I don't necessarily align with the way that you're delivering it, but I can see, as someone that is active in step parenting and understand the difficulties of it, I can understand the foundation of the message. I do think that people can find love in multiple places, but I do think that when you have a prepackaged family, it can be a little bit rougher at times to, figure out getting through situations, or even
It's hard to figure out situations when you're with your husband.
honestly.
When you have kids with your husband.
Honestly.
It's hard to figure out situations then too.
Yeah.
When you have family members coming from both sides and in
Yeah, but the difference is like my dad used to say, better that you argue with blood than argue with somebody who's not blood, because when it's your family, they can understand. They may not understand, but they can understand. And there's arguments, disagreements. There's a certain level of like understanding from both sides versus somebody who's not blood related. And then now you're in these type of very heavy, kind of can get toxic situations. It can get out of hand really quickly. And it's kind of like, basically, he'd rather suffer with his own blood because that's where he came from. That's where God put him. That's the nest that God let him be born in. He'd rather deal with them than deal in somebody else's nest where he has no affiliation in their genetic blood wise. So from that standpoint, it's like, I get it. Even if you have a relationship with somebody and y'all end up having a kid together and it don't work out, the only difference is that you guys brought that together and y'all have that first child together. That's an experience y'all can share together. There's a togetherness in this that even if y'all don't disagree on it, even if y'all don't agree on everything, it's just kind of like, we both made this child. There's a responsibility on both ends versus me coming into somebody who already has those kids. It's like, I didn't make that situation. It just came to be because I liked you. It's like, but then it's kind of like taking the love out for the kid. You could love the kid as much as you want, but they're always going to want to know who their real parents are. And I don't think anybody can deny that,
putting this and that. That's a difficult situation. They're all difficult situations.
For me, I think the difficulty sometimes that I might have, and this is honestly just me being vulnerable.
Yeah.
The difficulties that I see sometimes in being a bonus parent is, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're not going to ever be their parent.
Right.
Correct.
So sometimes it's like, okay, like for example, the baby is homeschooled.
Mhm.
I want all three of the kids to be homeschooled because I feel like that would be best. That's not my call.
Right.
as difficult as that is sometimes for me just to swallow, sometimes I really want to just have the conversation of, yo, we should just make this shift, you know? But that's not my call because I'm just the bonus mom.
Right.
I can understand the wanting to protect, you know, your child from, you know.
I'm sorry, but with that same example, say you had all three with your husband and your husband is firmly against homeschooling and you're not, wouldn't you
That would be
run into that same situation?
Yeah, but fortunately, before me and him had Chan, that's stuff that we talked about.
Right.
And we discussed that. So, but that definitely would be a hard thing if we weren't aligned in that space. Absolutely.
And we got to also stop thinking that you could be a great parent and your child is not receptive to your parenting.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes we try to, you know,
That was fire.
you feel me? Oftentimes we try to sit here and be like, oh, you know, it's my fault because such and such and such, you know, this child has grown up to do whatever, become whatever. That's completely outside of how you raised them. There's kids that or adults now that were kids and really had two great parents, but yet they wanted to do all the other things that was
That's
going
facts.
to make them a bad person.
I already know. She talks.
It's not-
I already know that.
That's a lot of, and it's not,
What's like, I'm not
it's
surprised.
not their parents' fault. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
not.
It absolutely
I
is.
think that what
It
happens
isn't.
is what
I
happens
agree.
is
Yeah.
at some point in
seriously.
time
It isn't.
when kids become adults, we don't sit here and we actually reflect on the sacrifices that were being made with appreciation. We actually do it in the sense of I wish I had this, this, and this. And in America,
Imagine if ChatGPT and Canva had a baby. That's at Creative AI. It's the only generative AI designed for
personally, we already exist in a world where we have a disease of more. We always want more. We always want something that should have been over here or something that was over
It's so
there.
true. That's
but
just
it's
with
never
human
a
beings,
grateful.
too.
There's never no gratefulness to anything. You feel what I'm saying? Like my mom, she worked 3-4 jobs, right? My sister felt like my mother wasn't there a lot.
Yeah.
So my sister started acting out. Me, right? We're only about 1.5 years, 2 years apart. Me, I looked at it as, wow, my mother is sacrificing a lot. Okay, I am appreciative, but my sister was resentful. It's the same parent doing the same exact job to both kids, but one kid is going to
One saw
learn
it
to be
differently.
grateful, and one is going to learn to you know,
It's
to have
so
a
true.
It's a
with it.
cycle,
You need
though.
two
It's not-
parents inside of the
It's
household.
not the
It's a blueprint for what success looks
It
like when
isn't.
it comes to. Yes, it is.
It
Listen,
isn't.
I got 3 brothers. All
Okay.
of us is married. None of us ever been divorced. 9 uncles on my mother's side. None of them ever been divorced.
Good.
No children ever been raised out of wedlock. There is a blueprint to
For
what's-
your family,
No, that's
that
a-
worked very well.
That's called a blessing.
There is a. No, it's not. It's called being intentional.
Facts.
It's called, and let me tell you something. Even scripturally, and we raise our kids based off of the scriptures. When you put it in them young, it never departs from them. Even if you allow for them to fail in controlled environments, they never depart from it. They always come back to the thing that you put into
I
them
agree with that.
when they're young.
I
And
agree
so
with
for
that.
us to sit here and have this conversation would basically tell me that y'all just believe differently than me.
Absolutely.
Because what
We're
we do-
different people.
and that's fair.
No, everybody
but
believes
what I'm saying
differently.
is, but what I'm saying
Nah,
is,
that's not the
everything
point
that
he's
I hear
trying to say.
communicated right now is a remix. America is this. No, there is a fundamental way, and other cultures even understand it. That's not even having as many options as us. There's a fundamental way that you go about being successfully married, being successfully able to raise your children, so on and so forth. And we've departed from that, and we keep remixing it and saying, well, it's okay for you to go out there, fail, create a whole nother family, come back, and then you able to redeem yourself. That's not the conversation that
not
we
a
should be
failure.
having. Instead, we should be having a conversation based off of proactively preventing ourselves from even getting in this situation in the first place. But instead, we keep remixing and expecting our children to not pay for the sins of their fathers and their mothers. Our children are nothing more than a reflection of the failures of the people that came before them. That's it.
facts.
I
So
disagree.
when I said earlier, when I said in a different
show.
show that I'm the man that I would want my daughter to marry, it's a reason for that. I don't make sacrifices, or I don't come into this whole situation looking to apologize. I'm looking to validate. I'm looking to remove every excuse that you have from being able to not make the right decision. And you often at times make the right decision every time because you are going to be a reflection of what me and your mother put into you. That's it.
How
There's
do
no
we,
other way to go around it.
I love the thought of that
It sounds
mindset.
poetic.
No, it's exactly the way it
like
goes.
a really
Okay,
good
question.
thing.
So
In
you
theory,
said
that's
you said
beautiful.
preventative. If the conversation needs to be about preventative actions to not make families that could be potentially broken and things like that, what are the preventative actions that we need to discuss?
Oh, it's
then?
very simple. It goes back to the original marry before you carry. We need to stop dating, stop experiencing a bunch of people, stop having a bunch of sex, stop putting yourself in a position to have to
Correct.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
So
that's
if we
true.
stop
No,
dating,
no.
how do we get to marriage?
You shouldn't even be And I talked about it.
Arrange.
Yeah, I
I
asked him
ta-
that.
You shouldn't be.
It's funny because in our previous video that you guys are gonna see, I talked about this about the guys getting wives overseas and stuff like that and bringing them here, and or the people bringing potential partners from other countries into the country and stuff like that. Take your time. And this is what I was talking about in that last video. I was saying, like, take your time. And I don't think, like, life rushes us into things because we don't have time to sometimes sit down and really think about it. We just gotta go, 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 go. But when it comes to being with somebody, take your time, man. Take your time. Like he said, you don't have to sleep with everybody you come across. You don't have to um say you're boyfriend and girlfriend with everybody you come across. Sometimes being close to each other and being intentional, like he said, like being intentional. Do you really think this person cares about? Are you guys really on the same page? Are you guys willing to make those sacrifices? Sometimes we get with people and yes, that may have been the case and then they change up on you. That's fine. But usually if you know this person, you're going to be with them for a while because y'all know each other, y'all care about each other, y'all willing to make sacrifice. Y'all got to be on the same page. If we're not going to be on the same page or somebody's going to change or do something different, then we might as well not even go this far to even get to the altar. So I will say that I do agree with Anton there. Like, I think that is the answer. Take your time. Don't rush into, oh man, this person's so hot. I got to give them a baby. I can't let them be with nobody else. You know, like, really think about your decision. This is if you was to get this person pregnant, would you be with this person through hard times? Or do you think this person will be with you through hard times? You know? Really think about who you're dealing with before you make. It's just like buying a house. You don't rush to buy a house because now you're going to be paying crazy interest rates because you bought a house at a bad time.
Yeah, I think here, I'm not sure in Tennessee, but maybe it's different in other states. You gotta when you buy a house, you gotta set a minimum of 5 years, five,
Yeah.
6 years.
You know what I'm
So
saying? And I feel like marriage and kids should be taking that same consideration. It's just like, yes, you could be with somebody, you could find them attractive, they could find you attractive, but you guys are toxic for each other. Yes, you guys have great time in the bedroom, but you guys are terrible partners to be in relationships with. And that's usually how it goes. You end up having kids with this person knowing that. It's not like let's not act like we're dumb here or we're clueless people. We understand who we're getting involved with when we go into these situations most of the time, unless they're like, obviously there's nuances, medical conditions, traumas, it could be different stuff involved, but take your time. That would be my answer. Take your time. Slow down. You don't have to be in a rush to, especially as a dude, you have time on your hands. You have time. You have way more time. For the girls, I get it. They don't really have as much time as the men do. This is by science. This has nothing to do with, opinionated. This is science. Geriatric birth after 30%. I mean, 80% of their eggs are gone by the time they hit 30 or whatever. Some that they were talking about. So, but take your time. Take your time and really consider, like you would buy a car, like you would get a house, why invest financially into this person? Marriage and kids are that type of thing. Why would I make that kind of decision that will cost me for life? That's how deep it is. It really is that deep. So I feel like that would be the answer to that.
Be dating.
we'll see.
You shouldn't even be opening up yourself up to all of these spirits from different men in the first place.
How do you meet your husband if you don't date?
You already probably met him. He's the person that has your best interests at heart. He's the person that already was your best friend. He's the person that had your best interest. Most women
How
skip
did I
over.
meet said
Most
hypothetical
women skip
person?
over the man that they were supposed to marry already. That's the key. And then y'all pick the guy that y'all want. He ruins you, and then you expect for another guy to come back and pick up the pieces for you. That's not the
Facts,
way to
man.
do it. We remixing what relationships are supposed to be. You ain't even supposed to be dating until
So
you
you
get
met
married.
him at a quick trip, but you never dated him, but you were supposed to
No,
marry him.
you was raised with him. You were around him. You went to school with him. Most
promise you I
people,
didn't.
most people.
That's not true.
Because I'm
Wait, I
sure
got a
looking at
question for
my
you.
memory book like.
I really do like your train of thought. I just feel as if I got a couple questions.
Go
First
ahead.
and foremost is how old are you?
41.
Okay. Strike one. Second question, where are you from?
Detroit.
Born and raised.
Mhm.
Strike two.
Mm.
When you understand the world is different in every area.
I done traveled the world
Yeah, but at what age?
my whole life.
What age?
My whole life.
Give me your first age where you actually,
13.
You was 13. No. Give me your first age where you experienced life as a man in a different state. Outside
13.
of the Midwest
Oh,
area.
as a man? 18.
18. Where'd you go?
Ohio.
Outside the Midwest.
Outside the Florida.
Okay.
19.
19. Who were you with?
My father.
As a man, by yourself. I have to do this over with you because we could go back and
What do you
forth.
mean as a man by
As
myself?
a man, as an adult, I'm not talking about with your daddy on your side. I'm not talking about with your mother on your side. I ain't talking about your uncle, your cousin.
Hmm?
When did you take your nutsack and run around by yourself as a man with a friend in a different place? At what
I
age?
don't know
What,
if
a
he
friend?
did that because he got
I got married
married.
at 22 years
but
old.
this
big
is my
dog.
this is what I'm
I
trying
got
to.
married at 22. I was
Exactly.
intentional.
So
I
this-
chose my
hold on,
wife
hold
when I
on,
met her
hold
in
on,
high
hold
school.
on,
Damn.
listen. All I'm doing is asking you questions.
I know, but I'm telling you that
Okay.
I don't
So
put myself in a
much.
position
So what I'm
to make
what I'm
mistakes.
trying to
It's a
tell you,
difference.
but no. The difference is this: you got married at 22 years
That's
old,
right.
20 fucking years ago, bro.
Correct.
You understand the world's not the same then?
Let me tell you
I
something.
got
The
married
word-
at 22.
wait.
The word don't change ever.
The
It's
word
the
don't-
same way it was yesterday as it is today.
Not
the
true.
method by which you go about being successful is the same.
So we're
You can
still slaves.
Listen,
I
I
get what
tell
you're
you
saying.
what. I tell you what.
I get what you're saying.
Listen, you telling me that it don't
think
work,
he's
right?
going-
No, I'm not. You're not letting me
telling
tell
me
you.
so
You're
it's
not
getting
letting me
spicy,
tell you.
sir.
Okay, wait. I
Because
want to
my
get
friend
back.
as well.
Let me take the conversation back to this because I had some questions. I had some stuff on my card that I want to talk about, and I'm.
Get online in minutes. Web.com's AI builder
Too
makes
hot.
it easy. Simply tell us some info.
I would say that the perfectionist mindset a lot of people don't have. So you know I don't feel like your life should be miserable because you mess up, but you should understand that if some things are happening to you, there's a reason why, and you may be able to. It's God's blessing if you're able to get back into shape, get back into where you need to be. But I mean, he's talking from the standpoint that don't just willingly go make a mistake, but we have to be real about life. People make mistakes. That's just the way it is. Like, our society is not perfect, and neither is the world either. I mean, they already told you that Earth is hell anyway. So no matter what you do here, it don't matter because you're going somewhere else. Your soul is and spirit is going somewhere else anyway. So
About it, okay? Now, what kind of parents are y'all? More traditional or gentle parents? Shit.
Well, I'm intentional about being gentle. So he's never gonna fail. He's gonna do everything right.
Don't fail.
What is a gentle parent? I still don't understand the
Okay,
concept.
so
My life is a reflection of what I advocate for.
And I hope your
Do I
and I hope
be-
your
Okay, hold
kids
on, no,
never
listen, no,
disappoint you
for
in the
real,
way
because
that you
I
think that they
I
want.
want to talk
They
about
won't.
gentle parenting
Okay.
within the Black community because I think a lot of us have this idea that gentle parenting is just
Passive
stop.
parenting, and it's
Oh,
not.
stop! Don't do that. No, gentle parenting is just me not talking to you in a disrespectful way.
I'm not gonna disrespect you.
not hitting you.
I'm not
and
gonna
things
beat
like
your
that.
ass.
Like I'm gonna come eye level and talk to you.
Some
I'm
of
a
these
hey big
people
dog.
do
You, that's not okay. I don't. We're not doing that today. I'm more.
So being a disciplinarian and not an authoritarian, is that what gentle
Listen,
parent?
bro,
I've never
you-
understood the concept
So
of gentle
it's-
parent.
it's just a little bit. It's just for me. It's taking the spankings and the physical discipline off the table.
Okay, so being a disciplinarian but not an authoritarian. Okay, got it. Okay, well then.
We
yeah,
we
I guess.
traditional or we
I'm
gentle?
traditional.
Like he said, some
Okay.
kids need that, need their
Yeah.
ass beat. I've never experienced that. I ain't never had to beat the shit out of my kid or call him a nigga or call a little girl a little bitch or do any of
that's
that.
crazy.
I never needed to do any of that. My son listens to me. He does very well in school. He respects his elders. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't speak on it because I ain't never had to go toe to toe with a kid like I was trying to hurt him.
I think
for
kids
it.
respect your energy.
Yes.
Like my kids are excellent. Like I've never had to like spank anybody. I don't even have to yell. I can look at Rosie. She gonna start crying.
But she respects. But she respects you.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a lot of things. A lot of people think that fear. Like if I put this fear into my child and they respect me, they're scared.
Well, speaking from somebody who did get whoopings, I feel like if you're a good kid, you won't get in as much trouble with your parents. I feel like whoopings only take place. Like, yeah, you can have abusive parents. They're abusive for no reason. I do know that. But in my household, yeah, it was like that. It was like I didn't have to get that many whoopings because I was, like they said, I was a good kid for the most part. Yeah, I may have had my moments, where I was kind of wild, but um, I feel like those whoopings only come from that place of like, your kid is doing bad, or they're trying you in a certain way that they're trying to play your authority over them. They're trying to like overthrow you or get their way and stuff like that. And I feel like those kind of kids with bad intentions, bad, energy at that time, because it's not just adults that carry it, kids carry it too. There's good kids and there's bad kids. There are kids, no matter what you say to them, they were going to be bad no matter what you did. That was their path. That's their destiny until they go through something traumatic to change or something happens that forces them to change. But yeah, about the whole whoopings thing, I will say that that's the only thing whoopings it really exists for is like those extreme circumstances where, let's say your kid slaps a teacher. You never hit them before, you never whooped them, but your kid slaps a teacher. Now you tell me, is it learned behavior of the parents, or is it because the kid is a bad kid? And at that point, would you just stop it? No, slap on the wrist? Or would you be like, next time you put your hands on a teacher, I'm going to teach you why not to do that through your own body? It's kind of like that's where the fear might be necessary, because those type of kids don't really see it that way. She kind of just explained that. There are some kids who do need whoopings to understand, and there are some kids who don't. But I feel like that's kind of where this tomato.
Yeah, it's different.
question
It's just
goes.
different parenting styles. I mean, personally, I would like if I personally me, I think I would like rarely whoop my child. That has to be like an extreme reason, really. But I feel there's other methods of
Discipline.
discipline. But some people, they said they've been whooping by the switch, the belt, the bat.
Wood stick.
Some of them was heard from the vacuum cleaner. I was like, to me,
That's abuse.
to me, that's like kind of because that's like trending into abuse and like very extreme. It's like you obviously, especially when they're a kid, is like the parents are obviously stronger than the child. I don't really think you have to be like whoop them like that for them to understand. But I digress.
Yep.
Of you.
Yeah.
They're listening to you because you made them afraid. They don't respect who you are or your opinion on anything.
Yeah, no.
They're gonna do what you say in front of your face because they're afraid of you. As soon as they go out, well, you'll see.
Katie, what about you? Think you're more gentle?
You know what? I've never understood the concept of gentle parenting. I've never even tried to delve into what the concept actually was. I don't even really understand the concept of traditional parenting. I think we just parent based off of how we learned how to parent. I think it's intergenerational. I think we just take exactly what we have learned and we have brought it down. I agree with you when it comes to a blueprint, because I've seen a blueprint. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but I do believe in that.
That's what we should strive for, the blueprint of childhood, parenting, successful, well, whatever, we define as success, to build future generations. We should aim, that should be the aim. The aim shouldn't be, let's take on all this trauma and let's live with it. It's just more like, let's do better. Let's excel and be the best that we can be, in order so we can leave the earth knowing that we did the best that we needed to do.
I have had the privilege, because my children have a range of ages. I've had the privilege of seeing different personalities. Like, I have instilled so much in my children. I have done my work to actually fix the things I need to and instill that in my children. But they still have ways that are just isolated to them, that are still, that's how they are. My teenager acts one way, my middle child acts another way, my second child acts one way. And it's like, but they still have a foundation. They still have it to the core. They know how mom has parented them. They know the morals and everything else that I have instilled in them. but I don't believe in controlling a child. I believe in raising you, but I cannot control you. Once you get to it now, let me make sure I clear this up because I have young children. You can explore as far as I'll allow you to go based off of safety reasons.
Yeah.
Like I will allow you to explore and figure out who you are. Absolutely. But I don't believe in just confining my kids or being like so sheltered or being really overprotective with them. Like I need you to see the reality of the world. I need you to understand those things. But I also don't believe like I have to beat morals and ethics into my children. I've never believed in that. But I do believe in discipline. I will take things away from you if I need to.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
you disrespect the household, because I've had to do that with my teenagers a lot.
Yeah.
I got one who's just a wild child. I've had to do a number of things. I will take this away. If I'm working my hardest to give you a great life, to give you something that's worth even you pursuing, at least you can do is respect that. Just at least respect that. And it's not just, I don't say because I'm a parent or because I'm your mother. I just want you to see that these things are possible. So if I see that you're possibly on a road to failure because you are making so many mistakes, then yeah, I am going to intervene as a parent, and I will take disciplinary actions if I have to.
I
I'm not going to beat you, but I'm going to pull some things out.
It's because you're a bad parent.
Oh,
I do.
And that's-
Oh, they just bad. They bad because of why?
Yeah.
Oh, they talk crazy. Do you talk crazy?
Yeah.
Are they disrespectful? Are you disrespectful to them?
Or it's guidance instead of, and it's not guidance, it's criticism. You critiquing your child instead of guiding them. You know what I'm saying? Because the critiquing is taken away from their you know what I'm saying, their self-esteem.
Right,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? You take away from their self-esteem. Now they don't want to open up to you at all.
And they won't.
You know the beautiful part
The
about
negative
this conversation?
criticism.
Yeah, negative criticism. You
Yeah,
better critique
I'm-
that
I'm
child.
critiquing.
I mean,
They're gonna be 34
no,
having to figure it out.
I'm saying,
no,
you know,
but
like,
you know the
just break
beautiful
it
part about
down
this
to 'em.
conversation for real. The beautiful part about this conversation is all of us were raised by different parents. All of us are successful and figured out some things, and I'm sure our parents dropped the ball in some spaces. I think that all of us are doing our best in raising our children. And while we don't necessarily align 100% in our mindset and how we're raising our children, we're doing the motherfucking thing. So I'm proud of all y'all. Great conversation. Y'all are funny as hell to me. And thank you for watching Let's Rant About It. We'll see you guys next week. Think about it. Good day.
The big question. Would you want to be a step crash dummy? Well, this overall conversation, it was pretty interesting. You know, everybody have their own perspective how to raise children or being a step or being why not you want to be a step parent. But overall, I'm gonna just put it like this. Personally, if you're gonna delve into this type of topic or be in the situation, like what he said, you gotta accept that at full force what it comes with it. We don't want you to hear no excuses. You was in love with him or her, especially guys. You was in love with her, and you accept their kids, and then when you guys break up, you can't see the kids because technically you're not the child. We are not trying to hear that. I'm sorry, we don't want you to hear no excuses when you take that risk of playing step parents, especially being a stepdaddy. So if you're a guy who has a leveled head, you know, successful. I'm not saying you gotta be the richest guy in the world, but successful and able to function as an adult in society. You want to have a relationship because I believe everybody wants to have a relationship with somebody and build something with that said person. You gotta be able to pick which type of woman that I want to be with for the rest of my life. If you're interested in marriage or whatever y'all believe in. And if you delve into this and you want to find someone who's single, it'd be your best interest to find someone who's single, just like you. No baby daddy issues, no drama, anything that you guys need to build together as one. But if you step on that extreme side, she has 1 kid, 2 kids. Personally, one is pushing it, but 2 is too many, in my personal opinion. But if you delve into that, just make sure if it fails, we ain't you hear no excuses because nobody forced you to be with this person. You just goo goo gaga for in love with this person. All right? I gotta bring it to you.
Yeah. My whole thing is that to give another piece to that. Like you said about the men, choose some. You know, you gave advice to the men. I'm gonna spin it on the women. Like, Anton tried to say this earlier in the video, like he was your best friend. May not be the guy that you wanted, but it's the guy that you needed.
Had your best interest.
So you know, that is definitely something to consider. Even though probably, you know, people are people, they're gonna do what they do. But that would be my advice on the women's side. It's like, don't get with a guy just because, you know, you think he's whatever, but that y'all actually on the same page when it comes to things. But we know that chaos can come from both ends. But that would be my take on the girl side. You know, like, consider that before you choose to carry the child for 9 months, you know. Really think, like, is this somebody that could be a potential dad? You know what I'm saying? And also, not to take away from, you know, our age group and stuff like that. We in America, we do promote a lot of toxicity in our culture and on the media, on news, music, movies. You know, we tend to move in the world thinking these rom-coms and all these stuff are real, but they're not real. Those are scripts. That's not how real life goes. So follow the blueprint in what Anton was talking about, because that is actually in reality what makes sense, you know. So, but that's enough talking from my end as well. Hope you guys liked it, and so we'll be getting out of here soon.
So once again, we appreciate you guys for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. If you guys have any recommendations or suggestions, please hit up on our social media, on our email in the description down below. And see you guys in the next video.
Peace.